Hi, I'm Sara and welcome to Hen Corner. Today I'm very excited because the star of this recipe is something that I've grown on the allotment. This is one of my many courgettes and squashes which I love to grow. They're so versatile to eat, easy to grow and last a long time. But this is one of the first squashes, one of the first courgettes. You can see it's lovely and stripy, and we are going to stuff and bake it. Now what we're going to stuff it with is, well, you can stuff vegetables with all kinds of things, and we're doing the courgette today, but you could just as easily stuff the pepper, stuff a tomato. Oh, I'm running out of ideas. Stuff a squash. We had stuffed pumpkin the other day. Very easy to stuff a vegetable. It's normally the Mediterranean vegetables. In fact, if your mushrooms are big enough, you could stuff them. Probably wouldn't stuff them that small. You normally use some sort of grain or starch, so you could use rice, couscous, bulgur wheat. What we've got today, I've got some quinoa. This is actually leftover quinoa. We had this with a different meal earlier on in the week, but that's just enough for what we need today. So you need some sort of grain which we cook in advance. So you can just boil it, maybe add a bit of salt, maybe boil it in some stock for some extra flavour. And then we're going to saute down some vegetables in this pan. We're going to have onion and garlic and pepper and a few mushrooms and the inside of that courgette as well. And then once we've made our filling, we're going to stir through some feta cheese, and that's homemade feta cheese, and then we're going to bake it in the oven. So this is a lovely dish. We're going to start off with a bit of oil in the pan. Then we're going to just cut up some, just get that onion up, cut up, ready to saute. I'm using a red onion, but use whatever onions you've got to hand. And as with all of my recipes, a lot of stuff is flexible. Use what you've got. Raid your fridge. Don't forget to eat food in the order that you bought it, or in the order of it going out. Use the stuff that's not so fresh, that's a bit tired. Use that stuff first, because we don't want to waste any food. Cut up the garlic. And the garlic doesn't have to be particularly fine because it's a vegetable in its own right. Now the mushrooms. And now the pepper. And all of this is going into the pan to be sauteed. We've got the onions, the garlics, the mushrooms, and the pepper into the pan. Lovely and colourful. Gives a gorgeous filling for our stuffed baked courgette. Now, what are we going to do with the courgette? We're going to cut the end off, because we don't want anyone eating back by accident. We're going to cut it in half, and then in half lengthways. It does depend on how big they are. I'm only doing it this shape because this is the pan that I'm going to be baking them in, and so I want to make sure that they all fit in the pan. I'm going to struggle with that, aren't I? Oops. Maybe you should have measured it first. Oh, nearly there. Okay, and what we're going to do, we're going to scoop out the inside. Now, I've got a spoon here. Here we go. And I'm going to scoop out the inside. I'm going to use the spoon to sort of cut the middle. And it's a bit like a melon baller. Yes. Straightforward. So, oh, there we go. So that's 1/4 done. Now we're going to put the feta cheese in because I do like a good bit of combining all the food groups, your protein and your carbohydrates and your vegetables all together. If you don't like cheese, or you haven't got any feta cheese, or you don't want cheese, or you're allergic to it for whatever reason, think of another type of protein you can use. I mean, quinoa's got some protein in it, but you could also include nuts. That would be lovely. Pine nuts especially, or cashew nuts. That's my favourite. You could have chopped almonds. You could use seeds. But you get some protein in, and then this is a whole meal, and just a bit of salad on the side, and you've got a super supper, and it's ready to go. There we go. So I have hollowed out, I'm determined to get those in there, aren't I? I've hollowed out my courgettes. I'm now going to chop the bits I've taken off, because this is going to go into the stuffing as well. Now you might be wondering how we're going to get the filling back into the courgettes, because we've got so much stuff that we're trying to squeeze in there. But as this cooks, it's going to reduce down in size as the water evaporates. So it means that we're going to have something slightly smaller to go back in. And we want them to be generously filled and overflowing. And hey, if we've got some spare left over, it makes a nice little side dish by itself. Brilliant. So these are going to be sautéed with a bit of salt and pepper. And we'll keep an eye on it as it simmers down. The vegetables that we're using to stuff our courgettes are ready. They've got, just as a reminder, we've got onions, red onions and garlic and mushrooms and peppers, and we've got the inside filling of the courgette. Now it's still quite warm and it's sitting in the lovely oil that was cooking in. And what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to stir through this cooked quinoa. And the quinoa will pick up the extra juices that have come out from those vegetables as they've cooked. And we're going to stir this through together. This is going to be gorgeous. You can see how that big mountain of vegetables has all cooked down. As the water has evaporated, the flavours have intensified, and we've got a lovely filling to bake along with our courgettes. Now, I don't know whether to crumble the feta and mix it in together or lay the feta on top. I think I'm going to crumble it. So we've got the quinoa absorbing those flavours. Here's our feta. Give it a little crumble. Stir that through. And then we're going to fill these courgettes before they go in the oven for baking. I want them to be tightly packed. And this dish that they're in will hold any excess filling that falls out. And we're going to bake it at 200 degrees for about half an hour, 40 minutes. Oh, let's just tip it all on. Excellent. Wow, they are well filled. Oh, let's get those bits that have fallen off the side. So, this courgettes that are absolutely loaded with sautéed Mediterranean vegetables and quinoa. I'm going to go in the oven to bake at 200 degrees for about 30 minutes. Let's see what's coming out of the oven. Our stuffed baked courgettes are out of the oven. They were in at 200 degrees for about 20 minutes, and you can see that the filling, the stuffing has gone nice and crispy, and we know the courgettes are nicely cooked through. I can see that they've gone soft. There's a bit of juice around the bottom. That's absolutely fine. And all we need to do is scoop these out, serve them with a lovely salad and maybe a hunk of crusty bread. This is a wonderful summertime dish using the seasonal vegetables that are ready now. If you grow your own, all the better. As I said, it works lovely with all kinds of Mediterranean vegetables, with tomatoes, with courgettes, with peppers, or my favourite, aubergine. So have a go and let me know how you get on. We'll see you next time.